2 aircraft carriers, fighter jets massed across the Middle East. And behind closed doors, Turkey is already planning for the worst. If America strikes Iran, who stops the flood of millions crossing the border? Ankara has a plan, and it involves boots on Iranian soil. This is what happens next. Turkey is preparing contingency plans for a possible US-led military strike on Iran, including, in an extreme scenario, the option of sending troops across the Iranian border to stop a mass refugee influx. According to a Bloomberg report, the preparation comes as United States President Donald Trump has said he is considering limited strikes on Iran, even as American and Iranian diplomats continue negotiating a new nuclear agreement. Trump has indicated he wants a deal finalized by early March. The US has already amassed 2 aircraft carriers and fighter jets across the Middle East, a build-up that has set nerves on edge across the region.
The options range from establishing refugee camps near the border to entering Iranian territory to prevent displaced populations from crossing into Turkey.
NATO has also shifted gears. The alliance's E-3A AWACS surveillance aircraft, flying out of Turkey's Konya airbase, have long monitored both Russia and Iran. But the frequency of Iran-focused flights has increased markedly in recent weeks, Bloomberg reported, citing people familiar with the matter. The Konya base has served as a NATO forward operating base since 1983 and can track aircraft hundreds of kilometers away without leaving Turkish airspace, making it one of the alliance's most strategically valuable assets in the region. But it is the refugee question that is driving much of Ankara's anxiety. Turkey already hosts close to 3 million Syrian refugees, a legacy of that country's civil war that has strained public services and dominated domestic politics for years. Officials fear a conflict in Iran would push large numbers of Afghan and Pakistani nationals currently living there toward the Turkish border. The roughly 560-kilometer frontier between the two countries is already one of the region's busiest irregular migration corridors. Turkey has invested heavily in securing it, with concrete walls, razor wire, and surveillance towers. But Ankara knows infrastructure has limits. Bloomberg reported that Turkey's foreign ministry briefed lawmakers in a closed-door parliamentary session on what officials described as tiered contingency plans, ranging from border camps to, in the event of a power vacuum in Tehran, limited entry into Iranian territory. Turkey's experience with Syria has fundamentally reshaped how Ankara approaches these situations. In 2012, the government tried to cap Syrian refugee arrivals at 100,000. Close to 3 million came. Officials have made clear they have no intention of repeating that. Ankara has urged both Washington and Tehran to pull back from escalation. Whether either side is listening remains an open question. Former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett has unleashed a bombshell accusation. Turkey is orchestrating a dangerous realignment of Middle East power, seducing Saudi Arabia into a hostile Sunni axis designed to encircle, isolate, and threaten Israel, with the shadow of nuclear-armed Pakistan providing the ultimate backing. Speaking amid rock-bottom relations between Ankara and Tel Aviv, Bennett equates President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's Turkey to a stealthier Iran, cunning, aggressive, and expansionist. Turkey and Qatar, he claims, are already dominating Syria and probing everywhere else, plotting to flip key players against Israel.
A new Turkish threat is emerging. I want to be very clear. Turkey and Qatar have gained influence in Syria, are seeking influence elsewhere and everywhere throughout the region. And from here, I warn, Turkey is the new Iran. Erdogan is sophisticated, dangerous, and he seeks to encircle Israel. We can't close our eyes again. Turkey is trying to flip Saudi Arabia against us and establish a hostile Sunni axis with nuclear Pakistan.
Once a cautious NATO ally, Turkey under Erdogan has exploded onto the global stage. Ankara mediates in Ukraine and Gaza, launches military ops in Syria, Iraq, and Libya, and flexes from Eastern Mediterranean gas disputes to Horn of Africa ports. Erdogan rails against the world of five, his jab at the UN Security Council's permanent powers, as a rigged game preserving nuclear monopoly for the elite club. This grievance hits hardest on nuclear double standards. Why do some states face sanctions for suspected programs while Israel's undeclared arsenal escapes scrutiny? The 2023 Gaza war supercharged this rhetoric, with Erdogan openly calling out the asymmetry and questioning why inspection regimes skip certain players. For years, it was principled outrage. Now, regional chaos makes it a strategic calculus. The spark? Cracking security architecture as US-Israel ratchet pressure on Iran. Erdogan warns that if Tehran crosses the nuclear threshold, neighbors, including Turkey, will race to match. Not from bloodlust, but survival logic. In a neighborhood sliding toward raw deterrence, nuclear capability becomes the only reliable shield against regime-toppling force. Turkey isn't starting from scratch. The Russian-built Akuyu nuclear plant trains engineers and builds institutions. Thorium reserves promise self-reliance, slashing vulnerable imports. These latency assets, dual-use tech, missile know-how, fuel cycle flirtations, let Ankara hover on the edge without treaty suicide. Overt weapons, political poison via sanctions and isolation. But ambiguity preserves options, especially amid whispers of external lifelines. Bennett's axis nails the connections. Turkey-Saudi relations, frosty after 2018's Khashoggi murder in Istanbul, have thawed via trade booms and defense talks. Riyadh won't stomach Iran solo with the bomb. Leaders hint at matching moves, possibly under Pakistan's deterrence umbrella. Islamabad, Islam's lone nuclear power, shares security bonds with Gulf monarchies and Turkey through informal pacts. Analysts spotlight the nightmare. Clandestine tech transfers within this Sunni triangle could slash breakout times, dodging IAEA eyes. Pakistan's warheads, Saudi cash, Turkish ambition. It's a proliferation contagion where latency becomes weaponized reality. For Israel, this obliterates Saudi normalization hopes, erecting a nuclear-shadowed bloc to counter Tehran while squeezing Jerusalem. Jerusalem sees apocalypse. Saudi as anti-Iran bulwark, dead. Incirlik Air Base hosts US nukes under NATO, but a Turkish bomb snaps those chains, freeing Erdogan to escalate in Syria, the Med, or beyond. Disputes over F-35s, S-400s, and alliance loyalty grow toxic when Ankara holds escalation dominance. A nuclear Turkey rejects Western hierarchy outright, declaring strategic adulthood. Turkish officials dismiss Bennett's panic as paranoia, framing outreach as stabilizing diplomacy, not encirclement. Yet Gaza condemnations, Netanyahu's genocide warrants, and mass anti-terror arrests burnish Erdogan's Muslim world hero status. As Middle East blocs solidify, arms races globalize, and Iran's coercion selectively rules, Ankara signals, force Tehran into the bomb and watch the cascade. Threshold states like Turkey won't stay naked in a nuclear jungle. This isn't bluster, it's brinkmanship. A stable order needs universal rules and de-escalation, not pressure cooker tactics fueling middle power arms grabs. The Sunni axis, nuclear whispers included, risks turning regional rivalries into catastrophe math. Hypothetical today, inevitable tomorrow,